Do it yourself. Do it yourself.
What's going on, people, man? Ashleyi here, man. And today we have a humongous guest today. It's Truth in the Booth podcast. Shout out everyone that's been tuning in on Instagram, supporting on dlyent.com. Shout out the Heatmakers, which was last week's big guest. Arsonist, one of the best producers I've ever heard in my life. And he's the most humblest, one of the most humblest people I've ever met in the music industry. So shout out Arsonist for giving me the opportunity. And but today we've got another great guest. I'm blessed. I'm getting some good guests now. I'm blessed right now, man. And I have Hassan today. Now, most people might not know who Hassan is, but you're gonna know who Hassan is because this guy is probably one of the most talented artists I've come across in the last about 15 years. He's worked with a lot of great artists. But I'm gonna let my brother explain for himself, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself. So please, Hassan, take the floor, man. Just let us know a bit about yourself and your background and where you're from.
Man, thank you so much for having me, brother, and I appreciate that those kind words. And to everybody, it is a little underwhelming, I guess, after Arsonist, but hopefully I'll won't let the people down. Yeah, Hassan. Just I started kind of as a producer, looking up to people like Arsonists and Heatmakers, and chopping samples and MPC kind of vibes. And that led to kind of working with the Good Music family, people like Malik Youssef and Saha the Prince, and inevitably Kanye West on a lot of different projects. And through the Kanye sphere, I met Dame Dash, and and that's kind of where we are currently, where now I'm putting out stuff as an artist myself, and for the most part produce majority of my stuff, but we work with other producers too and collaborate. So yeah, just overall, I guess producer, artist, Christian, patriot, and yeah.
What's your views on record deals? What's your views on publishing deals? And what's your view? Do you feel like you need to sign these deals, or you just want to go straight independent and do it yourself?
No, like I signed a publishing deal with like a major company, with Warner, and like as a producer songwriter, just because I had produced this song for this girl Sweetie, and some stuff for Dave's Loaf, and I had produced some stuff, and they just were like, "Yo, we can give you this money up front." And and look, I'm living in LA, I gotta, so it's like, I think there's like a practical way of doing it. If you gotta live, right? You gotta stay living. So it's like, I don't know. I think there could be a balance between like working with majors and still moving and making moves independently. So like I said, I work with Warner on the publishing deal. I work independently with Dame on releasing music, and this is Mr. Sandman too, by the way.
He's cute, man.
I didn't introduce him,
He's
but
cute, man. He's a
I
cute dog.
appreciate it. Yeah, but like, so, and do I regret doing the publishing deal? I don't know. I mean, I think it's like a necessary, thing that you got to do, and you don't have to, but for me at the time it made sense, and it was like I needed the money. I had this, and more than that, like, they might provide little studios here, or like try to link you with certain people. So I think it just depends on how you work it. It's like, I'm not one of these people, as much as I rock with Dame, and he and I put out music independently and everything, and I agree with his sentiment. But I don't know. I think there's still somewhat of a practicality. It's like Dame did a lot to where he could make some money to where he can kind of move that way. But I don't want to be one of those people to just tell people like, oh, don't ever sign no deal. If you ain't got no bread, it's a lot harder to tell somebody that, Like even Dame and I, we would have conversations. I'm like, yeah, but you sitting on some bread. Like I'm out here, like I gotta eat. So unfortunately, yeah, I think you can do it, but just be careful. Like, definitely try to, show it to whoever you know. Luckily, I was able to show it to a couple people, Dame being one of them. He disagreed with it, but he understood where I was coming from. So, but yeah, but we've been able to stay independent on the artist side of things and putting out music. So, and it's just being creative. Like we were talking about off air, you got to figure out ways to sell merch. Like we just made this merch for this song called On God. And it's like, if you buy the shirt, you get sent the album early in an email to where you can hear the album and like the rough versions. And it might change, but you get to hear where it's at right now. And yeah, I think you just got to be creative. It forces the artist to like start doing art. You gotta like, what are you gonna do when your back is against the wall? You're gonna figure it out. So yeah, I think it all depends. I don't think it's a definitive no or definitive yes. You gotta just wait until you're in that moment and be aware and pay attention so you don't overreact. Because it's like if you have too much of thought of like, oh, they're trying to like screw me, you're gonna already go into the meeting with that in your head. Like, oh, screw this, I'm not signing no matter what. But it might not be a bad deal. Like, don't go into it already with a preconceived notion of someone else's life. My life, Dame's life, Nipsey Hussle's life, whoever that you might think is like Chance the Rapper that was like promoting independence. It's not your life, so you can use it as information, but don't go into it completely like closed off because it might be a good situation.
You know what? I think that's again because I asked Arsonist the same kind of question. He said he had the same kind of answer as well, and I think I loved how you put that because everyone's different. You can't. I love what you said there. You can't look at other people's life and try and live through them. And so many people, even including myself, when I was younger, I actually always do that. Until you get in that situation yourself and you realize you have to do what's best for you. Now, I'm not against I'm not against publishing deals either. I'm not against that. I just feel like it's just good to make sure artists are educated on it before they decide to do it, because the music industry don't want to tell you nothing. That's how they make their revenue, by you being ignorant.
Yeah.
So
and that's why you should ask questions. Ask as many questions as you can. Like get over being like too cool for school. Ask questions. Like whoever you got around you, like, man, I'll be asking whoever it is. If it's Dame, if it was Che Pope at the time, John Monopoly, any of these people that some people will know who these people are. It's like I'm asking them as many questions as I can. If you ask any of them, they're gonna be like, Hassan is annoying, but he's gonna get, he's gonna try to get the information.
Nah, but do you know what? I'm like that. I wouldn't say it's annoying. It's you're seeking for knowledge, and if you don't seek for knowledge, how are you gonna know? You're gonna be. We have to ask. It's like going to school. You don't put your hand up. You're not gonna know. And what I would say to you, though, my brother, is this: okay, you sign a publishing deal, but can you like is it okay if we explain to the audience, because a lot of people watching this might not even know what a publishing deal is. Now, my question to you is this: in a publishing agreement, because publishing's kind of complicated, it's not very clear cut. Now, for my limited, you've actually signed one, so I'm going to get first party information from you. If is that okay? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, as much as I know about it.
Oh yeah. Because it's very complicated. It's not straightforward.
Yeah.
I've seen, so in the publishing agreement, there's the publishing share, and then the writer share. Is that correct? So 100%, is it 100% publisher share and 100% writer share, or is it, so that's 200% of the publishing? Is that correct? Or
Yeah, I think it's something like that on the overall, but I think there's like a breakdown of the mechanical and the
Performance.
and yeah. So, but I think overall, I think you're right.
Because like in the music, this like for people watching this right now, a publishing deal is a deal. There's two types of deals. Hassan will know probably better than me. But the whole point of this podcast is to really educate artists and fans that want to know more about the economics of the music business. And the word publishing gets thrown around a lot in the music business, and a lot of people but publishing is very complex. It's very hard to understand. It's done that way. These very broad, ambiguous terms, so we don't understand it. But from my limited knowledge, and there's in publishing, there's 200% in the publishing, so there'd be 100% for the publishing share. So a publisher is someone who publishes the songs. So say for example, if you hear one of Hassan's beats or songs in a commercial for I don't know for Nike, okay, because if Hassan did the deal directly with Nike, he will get paid as a publisher, okay. Also, the other side of publishing is the writer's share. Okay, now the writer's share is for people who actually made the piece of art. So the composer, which is Hassan, he makes beats, he produces, but also he also writes his lyrics and he performs. So if you write a song and you produce a beat, you will get paid the writer's share of the publishing. But there's 100% in that. So in last week's podcast, Arsonist from the Heatmakers, he basically explained that when the song Killer Cam, they want to use they license that song for Thursday night football or Friday night football in America. But anyway, every time that song is played, him and Cameron get paid between I think $1,500 every time it's played. But they would split that 50-50, the writer's share of it. So in publishing, it's very important that when you're signing a publishing deal, you have some type of basic understanding of it because it's very complex, you know. How many years ago when you signed your deal? How many years ago was that?
2018.
Okay, so that's about 6 years ago. So you were younger. Did you feel that you were ready to? Did you feel like you understood it? Like when you actually was going to sign this contract and put ink to paper, did you feel like you actually understood what you were actually going to sign? Honestly.
Honestly, no, but I had well, I'll say this, that when people say like don't worry about trying to seek a publishing deal, just keep your head down, work, and someone will come and find you. I never believed that, but it's true. As soon as you do something to where someone feels like uh they should be making some of the money off of it, they gonna find you.
Yeah.
And yeah, you don't need to try to get one, because I was trying to get one for years. And
But why? Why'd you want to get one? What was the reason for that?
because I just wanted upfront money,
Ah,
and I wanted like validation,
uh-huh.
right? Like I wanted to be like a lot to my parents, like, yo, look, I'm like signed by this big company as a producer and a writer, like, you know, and yeah, so I think there was like an ego validation thing to it, but there also was like, oh, cool, like upfront money, like, and so for years I was trying to get one, and it was always like almost, or like it was always like really close, but never. And then as soon as I like did, uh, it's so funny because like the stuff that I got it for is stuff that like I didn't even think was gonna be like I wasn't even thinking anything of it. Like the song that I did with Saweetie, I'm just thinking like, oh, whatever, like we're just having fun, like, and so. But all I'm saying is that you never know what's gonna be the thing that like is economically, fruitful. It's like it might not be the most like it might not be the thing you work on, like that you think is your magnum opus, but it's like it might be the thing that's like economically fruitful. But the point is, what I'm saying is that yeah, I always wanted to get one, and then when that happened and someone called me, was like, yo, at least I was in the position to take the contract and go show it to people like I mentioned, like Che and Manap and Dane, who at least I can have them like overview it and be like, yo, this isn't good, but you know. So I got like a crash course, and then and then I also hired some litigation, but it was really based off of the relationships that I had with people that I knew were in the industry for a long time. And most of them told me don't do it. But I did.
You need the
So
money, man. Need the money.
yeah, I needed the money. And like I said, I think there was still something about like walking into these like big offices that like felt good.
Of course, it's because you understand, bro. It's one, it's an opportunity. Two, we've been programmed our whole life to believe this is our beef. This is of value. You know, every time we hear about the music business, you hear about I just signed my deal. I just signed my deal, and people are popping champagne, sipping on stuff. So we thinking, yo, that's what you gotta do. So I understand. Signing a publishing deal isn't that bad because you can make another hit. You can make another one. You know, signing a record was different because obviously you're locked in to a certain. You can't make music without going to the corporation has now full control of your music identity. You know.
No, that's a good point. And you almost like can't even put stuff out. You can't like you got to get permission for everything. Yeah, it's like the publishing deal is kind of just like, yeah, you're right. It is a lot different. You know, it's like it's not so from what it seems, it's not so constraining. You know, it's like maybe it is on like the back end logistics a little bit, but as far as like really being free to be out here, like you know, you hear some crazy horror stories where artists can't put out no music, like their Instagram and YouTube got taken by the label, and like they, you know, so yeah, it's weird. It's like I don't know how but yeah, you hear crazy stories. So yeah, it does seem a little different as far as like the two.
And just the last point on this publishing deal before we move on. Because on this podcast I like to get in the detail so the audience can get some real.
Yeah.
You know, is that okay? Just making sure it's okay.
Yeah.
So you said you got upfront money. You don't have to say the exact amount, but like don't even say the amount. How much percentage did you give up for the money? And plus, was it a loan or was it free cash flow? Meaning, was it they gave you the money and didn't say you have to pay it back, or was it an advance? Because an advance is a loan. So was it an advance or was it free cash flow, meaning for profit?
Yeah. Well, I think you give up. I think it's like you give up almost like I think you give up 50%.
Correct. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
And
that's correct. Man.
no, you have to recoup it. So that's the thing. Yeah, like that's the psyop behind it is that you. But it doesn't. But I still don't necessarily think that is necessarily bad because it's just like a bank or anything else. Like, yeah, it is a form of usury. We go back to that, the interest. But and the same people who wrote those contracts are the people that's doing.
Of course, that's their game.
Yeah, but yeah, but I mean, yeah, you got to recoup it, and that's really what ends up keeping you in the deal a lot of times is you having to recoup that money, especially if you get a lot of money. I didn't really get I didn't get life changing money at all, but it was enough to where I could sustain, um, you know, for a few years, without having to be super focused on that. You know what I mean? So it wasn't, you know, I wasn't going to buy a pink range, but it was enough to where I could, you know, at least sustain and really it helped me work on me as an artist. You know, like I really took that money and was like, okay, cool. I ain't gonna produce for the next 3 years. That's really. I signed a deal to be a producer for them, and was like, they don't even realize I'm about to like stop making beats
Wow.
because I just like funded my artist career, and that's really when I linked with Dame, and like we started throwing parties and events at Dame's gallery. We did this beat auction, and all that was funded by that money. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you have if you have an idea that you need the money, take the money, because if you can flip it into some more money, it's just like, it's a hustle. But yeah, you don't want to have to do it, but it, I don't really regret it.
And
So I mean, yeah.
sorry to cut you off, because I think that's a great point you put out there for most artists out there, because I'm not trying to make it about me, but I did the same thing. I went to university to learn about the music business, and obviously I didn't know this at the time, but I took a student loan, which is the same thing you're doing. We're both taking loans. I took a student loan,
Yeah.
and I used the student loan to finance my music career. So I bought my MacBook, my microphone, my trademark for this hat, for this logo, was all bought with the loan money from uni. So we done the same thing, brother. We done the same thing. So we're moving forward now. So you're a producer, and did did you start off producing first? Cause I saw one of your videos when you were young K, when you're about in '07, you're like 60, you look like you're like 16, man. You know what I mean? You're probably young back then. But what I liked about that, then I thought, wow, this guy making beats for this long. So what was you a producer first, or was you a rapper first?
Yeah, I always felt like I was Michael Jackson first, but I think I always knew that like producing, it feels like a way to where, like, if you just come up to somebody and say, "Yo, I'm an artist,"
Mhm.
it just sounds like a liability. It
Okay.
sounds like, "Oh my God, this person's gonna need this, need this, need this." But if you're a producer, you're almost like an asset. People are like, "Oh, interesting. Okay, okay, maybe you can help with my other artists that I have, or you can help with this girl that I'm trying to develop, and you could, you know." And when you're a producer, you're almost coming from like a help perspective,
Mhm.
instead of an artist is almost like a diva. I need perspective. So
Yeah.
so I think I always knew that like producer would get me into more meetings and into more relationships, because it's like a service position. It's like you're providing a service. An artist really isn't providing anything, especially not in the immediate couple of years. They're really in need of a bunch of services and babysitting basically, and it's a lot to manage an artist or develop an artist. So I think I always knew from a young age that being a producer would uh, allow me to get into rooms, and that's definitely been proven to be true. Um, and so yeah, so I think yeah, for a long time I've been just, and also I think obviously my biggest influence, we talked about it earlier, but I mean, if it's no doubt that Kanye West is really everyone in our generation. He's probably the biggest influence in our entire generation. But for me, it's definitely evident. You can hear it all over everything I do. Um, and so I think even when Dame calls me the Middle Eastern Kanye or compares me to Kanye, it's almost like out of, there's so many similarities because of like just how much he's influenced me, that it's almost like just pointing out the obvious. Um, but so I think Kanye made it very cool to like be a producer, artist, and and I'm a very controlling person. So I always knew that I wanted to craft everything, from the beats to the lyrics to the artwork to the merch. I've always had like a a very like micromanaging of every arm of the spider kind of, that to me is the orchestra of the creation. Music is almost like
Definitely.
one part. It's almost
Definitely.
like a means to an end. But I actually just do the music so that I can do the artwork, the music video, the merch, the live performance. So I'm really more about like trying to bring it to 3D and like R2D2. I'm not really into like, I'm not even really like a studio rat like that. Like I don't sit up every day making beats and recording songs. I barely be in the studio to be honest, because I'm just in the studio so that I can get out and go bring it to life, you know? So, um, and that's really, I think, the artist in me. Like I don't really hang out with musicians. I hang out with like architects or designers or like other mediums of creativity. I don't really hang out with like musicians because I don't really feel like a musician. You know, I feel like Andy Warhol or something like that. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, we could do music, but I'm more into uh, real life performance art. That's why I like talking. Like interviews to me is performance art. You know, it's like even that whole soliloquy I just went on about immigrants. I think it's funny because my dad is an immigrant, um, but I'm like super not really for immigrants, and I'm like super for like countries being nationalists um and and for their country. So, but I like saying things like that because to me it's like performance art. It's like it could be shocking, it could be jarring, but it's also really how I feel.
Mhm.
But but I understand it, and I'm glad because my dad came to America, and now I'm American.
Mhm.
So it's good, but everything in moderation. But
Mhm.
yeah, so
No. Every time was great there. Oh, I thought I was gonna say to you, man. I was gonna ask you is so did you do you made beats for Kanye West? Was it on the Yeezus album? Am I correct? Was it on the Yeezus? On you worked on Yeezus, right? Did you work on Yeezus?
yeah. Well, the dude that really like my brother, that really like brought me into the game is
Malik Yusuf?
yeah, Malik Youssef, um, Grammy legend. He's worked with Ye since the very beginning. Um,
Man. Shout out Malik,
just
man. Sorry, kind of shout out Malik Yusuf. I follow him on Instagram. We follow each other. He likes me. I spoke to him a couple of times on Instagram. He's a cool dude, man. So shout out Malik, man. If you're watching,
yeah,
shout out, bro.
man. Shout out to Malik, man. Definitely was the first person to really like take me under his wing and just, I mean, the stuff that he's done for me, introducing me to, he was the first person to introduce me to Ye.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and just, yeah, just an amazing dude and just brilliant, really like a genius. I
Mhm.
mean, he's like a wordsmith, but he's really a word savant. Like he's the way he thinks and when you really get to know Malik, you see how much he's influenced Ye.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
in writing, but also just in thinking.
Mhm.
Um, as far as like verbiage, I'm not saying anyone helps Ye,
Yeah,
think. He thinks how he wants to think.
yeah.
But as far as literature and verbiage and wording, you can tell how much like Malik has really like added to Ye's like Shakespearean edification of the English language.
No, that's great. This is great, man. This is great talk, man. So Malik brought you to Kanye, and so my next question about Kanye West. Did you do business with Kanye West, or was it just straight? You just made songs for him. There was no like economic agreements or any business there. Just you were making art. Was that it? Was any business? Did you actually do business with Kanye West?
Yeah, I mean, I've just been able to be around, like even before that, even Twisted Fantasy. Before Twisted Fantasy, there's a song called "A Girl" by a Korean pop group called JYJ. And I co-produced that with Ye and No ID and Plain Pat. And I think it's somewhere on the internet or somewhere. But that was one of my first experiences with publishing and like an actual split sheet where I'm on the split sheet with Ye, and it's like crazy. So and that happened way back then, before Twisted Fantasy. So I've been around kind of in the ethos for over a decade. And Yeezus, I got to go out to New York during the SNL of Black Skinhead and New Slaves, and got to go to Germano Studio where they were working, and Electric Lady, and got to have conversations with Sahai and built a relationship with Sahai. He ended up doing a verse for me. And we've worked on some stuff and talked to Rhyme Fest and Anthony Kilhofer, who has been an engineer and producer with Ye since College Dropout, and we're super close. So just Che Pope. I met Che Pope out there on that trip. So since Yeezus, I just whatever I could do. If I could throw some words, I think this would be a cool word, or add drums. I put drums on everything, and everything doesn't stay, but just the fact that you get to be in the process is amazing to me. So Yeezus got to go to Shangri-La and Rick Rubin's spot out here in Malibu. And then kind of, just built over the years, Life of Pablo, same kind of process. I ended up getting signed to Good Music Management. They were developing a management company, and Che was running it. Che was actually the president of Good Music at the time. And again, I would just be hitting him up, and he's like, yo, all right, just come around. And I would just always show up wherever I could. And he would just put up with me and answer my questions. And, so I appreciate people like Che and Malik and Kilhofer and John Monopoly, because these are people that over the years, they would invite me to their house. They would invite me into their offices, into their homes, their studios, and always just give me time, and that's priceless. You know what I mean? Like, these people were superheroes to me. They still are. They're like superheroes. And the fact that they've always treated me with that kind of love is like, and the time, it's like, that to me is worth more than any currency,
Yeah,
And Ye too. Same with Ye. Ye, had me come out to Sunday service every Sunday out there in Calabasas, and I was seeing him every week, and he'd be like, yo, I remember the day that DMX came to Sunday service.
Wow.
God bless the dead. I'm sitting right next to DMX, and after the Sunday service, Ye seen me and was like, yo, like, this in front of everybody. He like stopped the Sunday service damn near and was like, yo, Hassan, yo, do not go anywhere. Stay in Calabasas. I want you to come by the office and come by the studio after service. And like, in front of DMX, in front of all these people. And I'm just like, wow. And, he was telling his manager, this gentleman named Damian Smith at the time, he was like, yo, Damien, this is Hassan. I met him through Dame. Like, make sure he doesn't leave. Like, get his number. And, so Ye is always like, anytime I've spent with him has just been like literally a dream. It's like, this guy is like the reason why I do anything, So it's like, watching him work and him inviting me to his space and to his office. And yeah, I mean, and the funny thing is, like, I recently did this interview with this girl. She runs this thing called Kanye's Post. Her name is the Green Girl, and shout out to her. But like this documentary that we have of me playing my music for Ye, and some of y'all have seen some of the snippets over the years, but we have a full like documentary that's going to be released. Like, and I'm not saying this from like an ego thing, but it is a little bit of a stunt. You can't find any footage of Ye sitting down, listening, and watching somebody else's stuff.
That's true. The next question, it goes to my next question is the power of marketing. Now, as an artist or any business or any brand, but especially as an artist, because we're going to focus more on music, marketing is such a powerful factor, which mostly determines if we're going to have success or not. Now, my question to you is, what does marketing mean to you?
Marketing needs to be the most important thing. Has it always been the most for me? No, but in a lot of ways, yeah. Like, because I always was conscientious of what I was doing in order to get to the next thing or the next person. Like even the way I would meet these people that I'm mentioning, even with Dame or whatever, it was all strategic and it was all marketing. It just might have been marketing for them specifically. I always would focus on certain people and market things to get their attention. Like when Dame said I could rap, I could have just stopped. Because as a kid, that's all I wanted. All I wanted was validation from somebody that I respected. And it was almost like a little part of me died when he said that. Because it was almost like that's all I really wanted. Like when I sat with Ye and had that moment, there was a little part of me that died because that was really what was fueling me. The fact that I was trying to like get their approval. And I never really cared about people because I never thought people had good taste anyway. So I only cared about the certain people that I felt had good taste to be like, yo, he's dope. And then I was like, okay, cool, I'm done. Like, so, but again, that's also ego and that's also like a validation issue. But the point is what I'm saying, marketing is everything. It's, when you start to study like Edward Bernays and, Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propagandist for Hitler and, even Trump, you look at Trump's marketing, it's genius. It's performance art, like everything he does is marketing. Yay, same thing. Every move this man makes is marketing. It's like he knows exactly what he's doing and he knows who to employ and deploy to make marketing really a part of the art. You have to become a performance artist. That's why another unpopular thing I'm about to say right now is like I was a huge fan of Tekashi 6ix9ine because he understood marketing. And we live in an era now where trolling like is marketing. Trolling is like a business. And I respect it. I respect all forms of trolling. Because if you're not trolling in this day and age, you're almost like not even really trying to compete. Because you almost like have to troll. Now, you can troll and also mean what you're trolling.
Okay.
So it don't mean you got to be a fraud. I'm not saying you got to be out here like just doing things just to try to be controversial. You could be a troll and actually mean what you trolling.
Okay.
And that's the genius about Ye. I think Ye will like believe something so much that he like becomes it. And he starts to like really mean it. But it doesn't mean that it didn't start out as like, oh, this would be interesting to like to kind of troll.
Yeah.
But then I think the masters of it really become it. They embody it. And then they almost like now perform it and live it out. So it's kind of a layered cake of an answer, but I think that marketing, you look at Steve Jobs, he would always talk about marketing should be way more than what you spend on the product. And I don't think there's anyone greater at marketing than Steve and Apple.
Now let's get back to the business talk, man, because you got a very interesting story, and I think you've got a very interesting business partner. Am I correct with Dame Dash? So, how did I've seen the interviews from if I'm correct, you gave Dame Dash a connect to a factory. Is that correct? To a factory to make clothes.
Yeah, I mean, but that was kind of like I don't really know why he did say that one time, and that's true, but that was kind of like, there was multiple things, right? It was like the main thing was I would always see him around like at different little things, but it wasn't until I had seen him one time and I was like, yo, I'm like working with Ye and good music. He was like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm sure a lot of people probably tell him that maybe. And it wasn't until I was out in Wyoming working on the Ye album and the Tiana Taylor album. When he did the 5 album rollout. I was in Wyoming, and then Dame came for the listening party in Wyoming, and he was like, "Oh shit, Hassan's out here," and I said, "Yeah, I told you." Like, I'm like, he was like, "Oh shit, like you really out here," and so we chopped it up in Wyoming, and then he was like, "Yo, when you come back to LA, you should come through. I got a gallery in Burbank here in LA, and come through." So I stayed in Wyoming for a few more days, but then I went back to LA, and we did the Kids See Ghosts listening party in LA, and Dame was there, and I was there again. He's like, "Damn, you everywhere," and then I went to his gallery. He was like, "Yo, whatever you want to do here, bro. If you want to like do something," and I had just signed the publishing deal kind of around that time period, and I wanted to do a beat auction. Basically, I didn't want to email beats anymore. I was tired of emailing beats, and I wanted people to be like kind of forced to come to these installations the same way like a painter holds an art gallery for their paintings. I wanted to do the same thing with beats, and I put QR codes on the wall, and I made like a film that was connected with colors, like synesthesia, where it was like orange, blue, red, and each color had a different beat. And when the beat played, you could scan your phone on the QR code, and you could place a bid on the beat in real time while it was playing. And whoever placed the highest bid got sent the stems directly to their phone with no email. And it was like this whole beta app that we made and everything. And I was like, "Yo, Dame, is it cool if I do this at your spot?" And he was like, "Yeah, go ahead." And it was crazy. We had like 400 or 500 people come, and it packed out his place, and all these different people that he knew like came through, was talking about it. And he was like, "Yo, like, how the fuck he's like, "You threw a better event at my spot than I've thrown at my spot." And if anyone knows Dame, like, that ain't easy for him to say. Like, what I mean? He'd be wanting to like, he'd be quick to try to like make fun of something that you do, right? But if you actually do something that's like legit,
Give you props.
yeah, he gives it up. So, pause. But yeah, like, so so we did that, and then after that, he was like, "Yo, bro, that event was fire." He's like, "You should do it."
I lost you, bro.
Yeah, I'm back.
You're back, you go. Yeah.
These AirPods keep dying. Um,
Are they Apple?
yeah.
Okay.
And he was like, "Yo, you should do it again. Like that was super fly." And I was like, "Nah, I don't want to do it again." He was like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I want to put out my album."
Mm.
And he was like, "Wait, you rap?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "I thought you just made beats." And I was like, "Nah, I got full songs." And so I played him like what was my album at that time, and then he was like, "Yo, has Ye heard this?" And I was like, "Nah, like I don't really be pushing, my agenda when I'm around him." And he was like, "Nah, fuck that. Ye need to hear this." And that's when he called him and told him that he needed to come over and listen to the music.
Okay. That's great. I've heard the story before, but I've never heard it in this much detail. So I appreciate you for that.
Yeah.
So like Dame Dash, how is it doing business with Dame Dash? Because Dame Dash is known for business, and Dame Dash isn't gonna do business with anybody. So the fact that Dame is executive producing your music, did you and Dame? How is it doing business with Dame Dash? How is it?
It's amazing because, you know, he doesn't hold any of the information. He gives all the information that he has, all the resources, all the assets, anything that he has. Um, he doesn't hold nothing. I've worked with a lot of different people, um, and a lot of people who have stuff to give, they'll keep it close to the chest, or they'll kind of give you the Heisman, like let's keep you at a distance, right, and give you just a little bit. But Dame is open source, bro. He's like Elon Musk. Like he's like, nah, this is exactly the blueprint. This is exactly what's gonna happen. And he's so confident in himself that he feels like he can give you everything, and you still not gonna do it like him. So he's like so confident in himself that he doesn't care if other people have the resources. Because he's like, yo, I'm Dame Dash. Like, you can do the exact same thing I'm gonna do, but it ain't gonna be Harlem. It ain't gonna be Dame Dash style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think he feels so confident in himself that it ain't even about the information and resources. It's really like he feels like it's really him. And I think if everybody was like that, we would be more open with information.
Of
People
course.
think the information they have is them.
Mhm.
Like they wouldn't be anything without that information.
Of
So they
course.
keep it close to the chest, or to the vest. But it's like, if you know really who you are, then you could give out the entire game plan to your enemy. You can give your entire game plan to the ops.
Yeah, of
And you're like, you still can't stop me, bro.
course. Of
I'm gonna
course.
tell you where I'm hiding. I'm gonna show you the bunkers. I'll give you the layout. And I'm still so ill that it don't matter.
Hmm.
That's what it's like being around Dame. It
Hmm.
makes you feel more confident about yourself. Because you're like, yo, this dude, like the way he sees himself and who he is. But he's such a superhero that it makes you really like be like, yeah, fuck that. Like, let's get it. You know what I mean? Like it really is motivating. It's like espresso. You know what I mean? It's like coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Like that's what it feel like being around Dame Dash. Is like a constant espresso. It's like, man, he gonna put the battery in your back. He gonna like. I feel like I gotta say pause to everything, uh, but yeah, like he's just gonna like make you really believe in in what you're doing. Like he was the first one to be like, yo, like stop trying, like let's not give this beat to Kanye. You need to rap on it. I'll put it out. I'll stand next to you. We'll go to the interview together. I'll do exactly what I did for Ye. I'll do for you. Stop trying to give him all these songs and these beats. Do it yourself. And that's what Dame Dash is. Dame Dash is gonna, yeah. Exactly. Dame Dash is gonna believe in you more than you believe in you.
That's dope. Listen, most people are like that, man. Especially at his level. Who let's keep it real, man. Dame Dash is, he put Jay-Z on. You know what I mean? Let's keep it 1,000. He put Jay-Z on.
And bro, and it's like, and you look at like what he did for Cam. Like, I'm not saying he put Cam on, but like, Cam was in a bad situation. And if he didn't get that resurgence at Rockefeller, I don't think we still talking about Cam. You know what I mean? With all due respect, I love Cam. Cam is my favorite rapper, but without Dame getting him out of that deal over at Epic or whatever, and bringing him to Rockefeller, like, I don't know, it's not the same Cam.
Of course.
So it's like,
and that was
what he did for.
I'm sorry to cut you off though. I do apologize, but obviously you were there to know Dame, but it's like that was Cameron's biggest. That's when Cameron became Cameron when he came to Rockefeller.
Absolutely.
So
and it's 100% because of Cam. I'm not taking Cam is Cam because Cam is Cam, but Dame happened to be very instrumental in all the people that I cared about. The only people I cared about is Ye, Cam, Jay, and it just so happens that Dame has all of those in common. So, and all the people that I was around years that could have sat me down with Ye and didn't, and just like that, Dame did it. This dude is the realest dude of all time to me, for sure. But I think everyone already agrees with that. But the fact that he did that, I'm like, bro, because there was people that I was around for years that could have done that exact thing.
Okay.
But Dame did it. So it's like, and the fact that he's always been that person next to these people that I've always loved, it was almost like that was what God wanted. It was like God was like, nah, I'm gonna close every door for you, but I'm gonna make sure it's this person. And at the end of the day, I can't ask for, like, people always want to be like, oh, well, you wouldn't have got these platforms without Dame Dash. Yeah. And what? So what? Like, I'm so thankful that the door that I came through, no matter where I go from here, if I become Drake or I stop tomorrow, the fact that the door that I came through in this culture and hip hop is through that Dame Dash school is like, that's exactly how I would have wanted it, because it was like that's the school that I love.
And it's great that you said that. It's great that first of all, every single artist gets put on in some way. Even if you're on YouTube, that's like saying without YouTube, there'll be no Logan Paul. You know what I'm saying? Like, people just talk.
Yeah.
Everyone has to. Something helps you on your journey. You don't just wake up in the morning and become successful. Something has to help you. It's like Drake. That's like saying Drake wouldn't be nothing about MySpace, or Drake wouldn't be nothing about Jay Prince or Birdman, or what I'm saying. It's just people just don't listen to the people that don't actually do what you're trying to do. They don't know what they're talking. A lot of people just talk from mouth. But my next question for you is: so, are you signed to Dame as an artist? Because Dame always says in his interviews, he does 50-50 agreements, 50 partnerships. He does 50-50 partnerships with his artists. So, are you in a joint venture with Dame? Like, how's the business working, like, on the actual economic side with Dame Dash?
Yeah, it's just a partnership. It's just it's just like a joint venture, kind of like, whatever I need from him, man, he's always just like, yeah, he's like, whatever you need. If you need me to show up somewhere, if you need me to, if you need me to come do this or do that, so it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess from a logistics standpoint, it's like a partnership or a joint venture thing. But I look at it just like, no matter what, it's like a life pack. It's mob ties. I mean, it's like, it's a bond that, like, no matter what happens or whatever goes on, Dame Dash is always going to be involved in whatever I do. You know, as long as he'll have me or want to be involved, like I don't care what would happen. You know, even if I did take a situation or a deal or something, moving forward or something, he would always be involved. You know, as far as I'm concerned. You
So
know, because
are you signed to Dame?
yeah, well, we just basically like have yeah, we basically just have like a joint venture to where it's like, you know, my company, his company, and when we put out stuff, we put it out together, you know. So it's like um yeah. So we basically just yeah, it's like a collaboration. You know, it's like we put out stuff in tandem together, and it's like it's my company, it's his company, and like I said, like no matter what, he would always be whatever you want to call it, the 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 whatever logo or name, he'll always be on it.
I like that. That shows your gratitude.
Yeah, for sure.
Dame done good for you, man. Like if it was for Dame Dash, I wouldn't discovered you. And the fact that Dame
100%.
yeah, I saw him in it was literally the big boy interview. I watched a lot of Dame's interviews for my content on Instagram and stuff like that. And I saw you in the interview, but you came across very well in the interview. You came across very well. I never seen you before. I just saw you in the interview. You came across very well. So I like the fact that you've got gratitude towards Dame because he vouched. We say over here in the UK, he vouched for you. He vouched for you. So that's a
Oh,
good.
100%. And I'm not a I'm not an easy person to vouch for. I'm a dangerous person to vouch for. So nah, I understand and I appreciate it. You know, like, and again, it's not even about music. It's about life. The stuff I've learned about life from this man and family and you know, like Dame really on some like like Godfather type shit. You know what I mean? Like the way he moves with his family and like the way he treats everybody around him. He treats everybody around him like family. And he's always done that. Think about it. He's the one that used to show up to Beanie Siegel's um,
Well,
court hearings and you know, so he's always been like the person outside of music, outside of even culture. He just has been like an institution for, you know, for us, you
yeah,
know, as you know, creatives, really.
Dame was the first rich person I ever knew from rap. Like, I didn't obviously Suge Knight and them lot are like before my time. Like I was a little kid when Tupac was out, but Dame was the first rich CEOs I ever knew. I didn't even know in the UK. Jay-Z wasn't really popular over here in the UK. Like he wasn't really popular. It was more like Dipset, G Unit, like that was like at that time. But we knew Dame though. I didn't even know.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even know Jay Z was in like CEO Rockefeller because none of us listened to Jay Z like until like 2010. Like Jay Z wasn't popular over here, man. But Dame Dash was known because Victoria Beckham. You know what I mean? He was doing the things with that. She's David Beckham's wife. Back then, they were like the most famous thing in England, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Posh and Becks. You know, back in the day, they were like massive. So Dame was with. I'm thinking, right, this rap. They ain't that the guy in the Jay the big. I seen Big Pimpin', but I'll be honest, I didn't really like those kind of songs. Like, but
Yeah,
so
yeah,
but I knew him from those videos. I mean, he's because I knew him from the video, so I was surprised that a rapper was with her because she was very famous. Like she was A-list. So the fact that
yeah.
she was wearing his Rockefeller clothing, and then my sister bought me my first Rockefeller shirt when I was like 9. So yeah, yeah, I did, man. It said Rockefeller founded in 1999. I wore it till I was like 17, man, and it fit me though.
Yeah.
Dame was he was the first guy. He inspired me to get entrepreneurship. So shout out Dame Dash. You know him personally. But my next question is so back to the business side is so you put out two albums, or both. I think one of them's called God Forbid, if I'm correct. You put out two albums now. Are both of those albums with Dame Dash, like in the joint venture, or was it just you like?
Well, actually, God forbid is just a instrumental album, like a beat tape. Um, but we put out an album called Mesopotamia,
Okay, yeah.
which had San Nigga as the lead single. And then just last year, I put out an EP called The New Testament.
Oh,
And we're about to put out the second coming next month.
okay. So all those albums under the joint venture, or just you put them out yourself, or is Dame
Yeah,
involved? Oh, so it's
yeah.
part of the joint venture.
Not God forbid, but Mesopotamia and New Testament.
Okay, God forbid it's a instrumental album, but the other two, I must pertain their actual
Yeah, that was actually an accident. I actually uploaded that. I don't even know what year that was, but I uploaded it and it was literally like rough instrumentals. Like they weren't even mixed. but but yeah, it's pretty cool to listen to. They're just like beats, kind of like Jay Dilla style.
Yeah, I'm gonna different because I'm gonna check. I know you. I know you more as a rapper than as a producer, so I'm gonna go and look at your work now as a producer because I might be interested. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah. No,
yeah.
the God forbid was like a thing that I did when I was signed to Good Music Management with Che Pope. I did this whole thing with I don't know if you ever seen the movie 2001: Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick,
Okay,
but I basically took the film, muted it, and then made beats to score the movie.
oh, that's dope. That's
Yeah,
dope.
so there's like some content. I don't know if it's on YouTube. I probably need to put it up, but yeah, there's some visuals for it and stuff. But it really was just kind of like an accident. But yeah, it's just some like boom bap, like Dilla kind of creative, awkward vibes.
Is it online now? I'm gonna check it out.
Well, I might put up the visuals because we also did a live event, but yeah, but the God forbid beat thing is out.
Okay, so when you
But yeah,
put,
I might put up the visuals. I might put up the visuals.
I'm gonna check it out because I like that kind of type of sound. So I'm
Yeah,
definitely
yeah, yeah. It's a good idea actually, because yeah, it's pretty dope.
no, I'm definitely gonna check it out, man. Because my question to you though is this though. So you put two albums out with Dame Dash, right? Am I right? Two albums with Dame Dash. Now,
Yeah.
how does the splits work? How does the economics work? So who's getting percentages? Like, do you get 50%? That he gets 50% of the royalties, or of the economic, the economics coming in? Like, how does it work? If you split it, is anything split? Say, for example, you get, I don't know, 1 million streams, $4,000 come in from the million streams, right? How obviously you got like who's getting what? Like, are you getting 50%? Is they getting 50%? Or you get 80%? If they get 20%? Like, I've never been in a joint venture before. Most people watching this podcast have never been in a joint venture unless they're signed, you know what I'm saying, to Rockefeller or something like that. So how does the economics work regarding splits? Because obviously a joint venture is a 50-50 partnership where both parties are liable for any liabilities, etc. But how does it work as an artist signing an independent joint venture? Like how does it work? So, say for example, your album comes out, you sell 10,000 albums, $10 a copy. That's what I mean, $100,000 there. Who's getting what?
Yeah, I mean, with he and I, yeah, it's all just yeah, 50-50. Everything just split 50-50 because like regardless of what he might want to do 80-20 and give the artist the majority, but yeah, I'm just like, yo, at the end of the day, you're giving the way I look at it is him giving his platform, him giving his time, him giving his and some resources and money too.
His brand too.
Yeah, I look at it like it's definitely 50-50. You know what I mean? It's like I'm putting in whatever, if I'm putting up money or I'm putting in the actual work itself. But yeah, to me it's 50-50. So yeah, that's how we've been chopping it up because honestly, to me it's not even 50-50. Because like I said, you wouldn't even know who I was if it wasn't for him. So to me it's not 50-50. To me it's I'm basically non-existent without him. So like, and I understand still my value, my worth. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like, I think sometimes we get caught up in all this ego of like, but and that goes back to what I'm saying about publishing deals. It's like at the end of the day, 100% of zero is still zero. So you gotta, there's got to be some compromise. You got to, like, at some point, if it's a label, if it's an influencer or someone like Dame or a partner, even in marriage, it's like you got to be somewhat malleable. Like, I'm not saying to be a bitch. I'm not saying to be like one of these guys that say, "Oh, well, happy wife, happy life." That's not true either. That's hell. But you know, there's gotta be somewhat of understanding and malleability, a little bit,
Of
you know.
course,
So,
of
and
course.
like I said, with he and I, it's like I wouldn't want it any other way. So yeah, so that's how we've been just chopping it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. It's great. I know I asked a lot of detailed questions. I'm just trying to give the audience as much like transparent.
But merch is 100% me. So go to HassanThankGod.com and purchase some merch.
That's dope. See, right. Give me guys Hassan.com. Check that out, man. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think I'll say thank you so much for being very transparent. You've been very open, you know, because most people might not like these questions, but I want the audience to get some real information, you know, because a lot of people, I don't get to speak to people like yourself who are, you know, are doing things like this. So, and I think most people watching are starting out. Most of my audience are people who are starting out and they want to learn more. So you providing this real first party information is very helpful for them. So I appreciate you for being open. And
Nah, thank you, bro.
nah, it's all love, my brother. The next question I want to ask you is roll like okay, so now you like the problem a lot of artists have is rollouts, you know, rolling out an album because most artists now can make an album in their room, they can produce it in their room, even shoot a video in their room on the iPhone, whatever, and they can produce that and manufacture their own tracks and videos. But the problem that artists have is rolling it out. Now,
Yeah.
my question to you is like how have you rolled how what's your rollout been for your albums like how have you gone about doing these rollouts?
Man, that's the hardest. It's the hardest part, man. Like, we're going through it right now. I just paid 3 different publicists and PR people, and regret paying all 3 of them. So it's like, yeah, it's trial and error. Um, and unfortunately, it costs money. That part is the hardest part to finesse. Trust me, I finessed everything. I finessed music videos. I finessed studio time. I'd be in the record plant. I'd be in the same studio that they made Thriller in, and I don't be paying no money. So I finesse studios. I'd be finessing videos. If you see some of my videos, I'm using, not in all my videos, but in most of them, I'm using like the best camera they have, like the same camera they shot Iron Man on, and I'm not paying $1. So a lot of it, God has blessed me, you know, with people who have been inspired by me or been motivated and wanted to work with me. So I appreciate it. People like Adam, my cinematographer, and he has an Ari Alexa camera. People who know what kind of camera that is, they'll know. Um, my boy Kevin James, uh, he works at the record plant, biggest studio in LA. So these are my brothers, and we've just been, you know, coming up together. So you got to be able to galvanize people. You got to be able to motivate people, and that's something that I've been able to do for the most part, as far as like other creatives. Um, so you got to do that, but that PR and that marketing is hard to finesse that because they're not really creatives, so they don't really like. They're not like awed by your creativity. They're like, we don't care. We're a business. You know what I mean? Like, we need money. Like, we don't care if you might be the next Elvis Presley. We need to get paid today. So it's harder for that, you know, and I think it's a trial and error. But I think you got to find out exactly who you're trying to talk to. You know, like this next rollout that we're about to start, actually tomorrow, is I think it's going to be the one of the more interesting rollouts because I figured out a hyper focused way to speak to exactly who I need to speak to. Instead of making it such a broad thing, like, yo, I need PR to give me like these articles and these blogs. Ain't nobody reading no fucking articles and blogs no more. You could have an article in Rolling Stone tomorrow. Who the fuck is checking rollingstone.com? No one's waking up and going to that. Everyone's on Instagram. So you need to target and focus exactly who you want to talk to and who you want to see it, and attack those things, I think. And it's taken me a long time to figure that out, but we'll see. Lord willing, we have a couple things up our sleeve, and I think the way that I'm gonna roll this new stuff out, sort of kind of some of the stuff I've been saying in this interview that are very controversial things of, like, even how I'm talking about America or race or religion or women. These a lot of hot topics that it would be interesting to see how they're received.
Hey, man, first of all, I think that's great information you gave regarding the rollouts, because I agree with you. It is the most hardest thing to do for any business, for any brand. It's to get the marketing correct, even for all us, So it is true, and what you said is a great point about PR companies, because it is tried and error. Like, everyone's done. You ain't the only one that's done that. PR companies, everyone does that. You know what I mean? We don't know. We get told that's what we're supposed to do, so we just go and do it. And then we realize that they took our money, but at least you now know. And the main thing is, that's how you learn how to market. That's how you learn how to brand, and that's how you learn how to do it. It's through trial and error. No one's going to give you the blueprint, and not everyone's blueprint is the same. Like you said, you got to know who you're speaking to. So I think that's great information you gave artists out there. Because I think I work with a lot of artists, and the biggest problem they have is the rollout part. We could all make our songs and make our content, but it's just, how do we get it to the end consumer in an efficient way?
Yeah, and it's because for most people it's not fun. But I think you got to start looking at it like it's an art form. You got to start looking at it, because then it will be fun. And that's why, like, people like 6ix9ine or Lil Nas X, maybe they're doing it for evil, and maybe maybe it's bad.
But we can't be like a Lil Nas X, man. Nah, I ain't gonna. Can't be. Come on, you believe in God, man. Man, dirty wine on Satan, man. We can't be close.
Yeah, but like him.
That's right. Yeah, but he's dirty wine on Satan, man. I can like man dirty wine on Satan.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, but
He's devil worshipful, man. I mean, can't rock him, man.
Okay, but hold on. But wait, this is my point, though. That's fine. You can say that, and trust me, you're not the first person, and you're not going to be the last person that's going to say that. But here's the thing: we also don't understand that he's been hearing that his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
His father is a pastor. He grew up in the church. You don't think he's been hearing exactly what you just said his entire life? Not just some of it, his entire life. And you don't think that people telling him that has pushed him even further from God and made him want to do it even more, and be like, you know what? This reminds me of the Christians when I was a kid. Watch this. And the more that you say what he was traumatized with when he was little, which probably turned him homosexual, because he's not really homosexual.
No, I'm not talking about I'm talking about the Satan.
I know. It's all the same thing. The pressure from the Christians or from the people who think they're better than him makes him want to do it more. Like, you know what? Watch this. I'm going to piss off this person right here, this Christian, or this person who thinks that they believe in God and I don't. I'm going to do it even more. It's like when you tell a girl that she's a hoe and she's a slut, which may be true. I'm not saying we should condone sluts. But what I'm saying is, the more you tell a woman, oh, you can't sleep with a bunch of men because you're a woman. A man can do it, but a woman can't do it, which I agree with. But the more you tell a woman that, it's like they want to go slut more. So as Christians, we need to, or just as people, right? We need to, like, we can call out evil. We can say, hey, look, that's evil. But understand that it's not him. He's possessed by something, and it's really rooted in his anger for people telling him that his whole life. His father's a pastor. He's been in the church since he's been a kid. There's no way he hasn't been hearing that kind of rhetoric his whole life.
Of course.
It's what's caused him. It's what's caused him to go so astray.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I get what you're
So
saying.
we have to welcome these people back in with love. Still call out evil. Still say, hey, that's wrong. That's evil. You're not really even homosexual. It's just something you identify with. I know that's not what you're saying, but we can't judge. We you know, we're no better. We're really no better.
I'm not judging him. I'm just saying, look, I don't care about that. Well, I turn on the TV and I see a man dirty whining on Satan. I'm thinking, what the fuck is this, bro? Like, what's it come to now? What has the world come to? Man's dancing with the devil, literally. Like, Mortal Technique was talking about it. This dude literally doing it. Like,
but there's a level of genius in that, because we're sitting here talking about it, and everyone else talked about it too. So there's a level of marketing genius that, and yeah, we could say it's evil, and I agree with you. Trust me, I'm not one of these, like, you know, I'm a very conservative, hardcore type of Christian person, but I don't know. I just think that I think that there's more nuance to how to go about it.
I know where you're coming from. I agree with you. I know what you're trying to say. I actually agree with what you're saying. You're saying the reason why he's doing stuff like dancing with the devil is because of what he's been hearing his whole life, which has pushed him astray to that side. I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying,
it's usually from Christians who are supposed to love everyone and supposed to do what Jesus did, but instead we're judging and acting like we're better than him, and we're not. We're no better. We're no better than Lil Nas X. We're no better than Jeffrey Dahmer. We're all capable of this type of stuff. It's just some are working on themselves and some aren't. But to say that we're not all, I don't know. I just think that we're no different.
No. My thing is, I am different to him because I don't side with the enemy. The devil's the enemy. He's the enemy to mankind, and he's siding with the enemy. So so that's why I can't be co-signing that. I can't be saying like, yeah, it's cool. I don't care what anything else he does, but the devil thing, I can't co-sign that. As a believer or someone of God, he's saying the devil is an enemy to me. He said he's rolling with the enemy. He said I'm down with the.
But what makes him any different than? Okay, so earlier you said that you still have anger, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, and Jesus said that any man who has anger is a murderer, right?
Okay, I'm listening to you. I don't remember that.
Oh,
yeah.
you don't know?
I don't actually know.
Okay. Well, let's just, for the sake of me not lying to you, let's say that that's true. Yeah. That Jesus said that any man who has anger is a murderer. So if you still have anger, and Jesus says that that's being a murderer, what makes you any different than riding with Satan? Because if you have anger, you are riding with Satan.
I can tell you, I can answer the question right now. The difference is this: me having anger is the reason why I repent to God, because Moses had anger and he killed somebody. When I read that story, I was like, hold on, Moses is the person who's given the 10 Commandments, and he duppy someone. He joked man up, killed man because he saw his fellow bedroom was beefing some other guy. Moses obviously had anger. He joked the guy and murdered the guy. Right, and because of that, he had to flee Egypt. All right, because that's why he fled Egypt the first time. But even doing so, that he repented to God. God still chose this man who murdered to lead Jews, Christians, and Muslims, all right? So what I'm trying to say is this, all right? Back to what we're talking about, yeah, about anger. We can't really use anger. Anger is a human emotion that every human has. It's up to, this is why we have to repent to the Creator, because he teaches us how to control our anger. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a disbelieving people that create wars because they can't control their anger and their emotions. But Nas X is on a different level. He is willingly choosing to follow Lucifer. I can't accept.
But why? But why? But why do you think he's willingly doing it?
I don't know, brother. Maybe because he's had anger.
Do you think? Do you think we have free will?
You do have free will, yeah,
What makes you think you have free will?
because we can decide to go to shoot somebody or not.
So let me ask you this: do you want to have anger?
No, of course I don't.
Then why don't you will yourself to be free?
Because I'm a human being and God made me weak. So if someone keeps bullying me,
No. But if you have free will, you claim that you have free will. If you have free will, then why don't you will yourself to be free?
I'm trying. That's why I go to God. He teaches me how to do it.
But if you had free will, would you have to try or would you just will it?
No, we have free will in sense of God has said, look, you can get A, B, C. We can choose to go through each door. Now, God's written every door for us. We have the free will to choose what door to go down to. That's what I'm trying to. That's what free will is to me. So God's written all the A, B, and C. I've chosen to go down C. God said, you want to go down C, or C taking you to prison? You know what I mean? So that's what free will is to me. We have a choice. We have an option, but it's all written by the Creator. The reason why I say we can't on the day of judgment, we're all good. Do you believe in day of judgment?
What do you mean exactly?
Like when you die, do you believe when you die you get judged?
I don't think God judges.
Well, Jesus believed in that because Jesus spoke about Judgment Day. He's gonna return on judgment. Before Judgment Day, Jesus is gonna return. So I believe in the day of judgment. I believe when I die, I'm going to be judged for my sins, for what I did right and what I did wrong. I don't believe in, obviously, only some Christians believe in Jesus died for your sins. I'm not here to debate that. Everyone believe. What I believe is you have free will, and when you die, you're going to be judged by the Creator for what you've done in your time on earth. Okay. So I can't side with the devil. Little Nas X siding with the devil. God has told me, do not follow the footsteps of Satan. He's an enemy to mankind. Okay, when Jesus was fasting, who came to Jesus when he was fasting? You know this better than me. I don't know the Bible like you, but I know when Jesus was fasting, Satan came to him. What did he try and do? What did he do? He tried to
And
tempt
that's
me.
and that's every single time that we believe a thought. Satan came to him in the mind, the same way that Satan comes to each and one of us in the mind every day,
Hey, bro.
and tells us that we have a free will.
Every day, man.
Huh?
Every day, Satan's coming.
But Satan is the one. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Satan is the one that's telling you that you have a free will.
Satan ain't that powerful. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. He can manipulate.
Exactly. Deception. He's telling you that you have a free will when actually you're acting out his will.
Oh, I know what you mean now. With
You don't have a free will, my brother.
Okay.
Nowhere in the Bible does it say you have free will. Not only do you not have free will, you've never made a choice or decision in your life.
Do you believe it's all written by God?
Meaning it's all influenced.
Okay.
Every choice we've ever made has been under the influence. Something that you saw, something that you were told, something that you thought.
True. That is true, though. A lot of it is that.
It's all under the influence.
Sure. A lot of
Yes,
it.
there's practical decisions like, hey, I want to get a steak tonight, so I'm going to decide to get a steak. But I'm not talking about practical decisions. I'm talking about spiritual decisions and choices. We've never made one of them. Even Eve in the garden was influenced by the serpent.
That's true.
Even Adam was influenced by Eve. There's no free will.
This is good, man. You're making me think right now. Okay?
And actually, if people let go of the idea of free will, they'd be able to let go of regret. People only have regret because they think they could have made a better decision at the time.
Mhm.
But you couldn't have,
Mhm.
because it wasn't even you. You're either possessed by evil or you're possessed by God.
yeah.
It's never you.
No, I agree with what you said with influence. You are definitely influenced by the devil and other
Because
people.
Christians, when something good happens, Christians always say, praise God. I had nothing to do with it. It's all God. But why when you do something bad, it is your fault. And you're like, oh, I'm guilty. I'm shameful. I did something bad. No, you didn't. You're possessed by Satan the same way you're possessed by God when something good happens. It's never you.
So
In all actuality, we don't even exist. We really don't.
in terms of, what do you mean by that? Do you mean like a
Meaning
spirit?
that true Christian, there is no identity. And that's why you shouldn't be able to be offended, because there's no one to offend.
With Nas X, though, but go back to this is what the whole debate's about is, I can't. Anyone who sides with the devil, I'm not down with them because the devil's my enemy.
But anyone who has anger is siding with the devil.
I wouldn't agree with that because God could.
Moses couldn't get into the promised land. He never saw the promised land. You know why?
Why?
He had anger.
But why did God choose him as a prophet?
God chose a lot of people to do stuff.
But
God chose King David. And King David murdered people and was a slut maker. And Paul, he used Paul. Paul murdered more Christians than anyone ever.
Wow.
God used a lot of horrible people. You can't tell God who to use and who not to use. Doesn't take away that Moses never saw the promised land. And he never saw the promised land because he had anger. He thought him bringing the Jews, he's like, why don't y'all get it? I just brought y'all here and y'all still want to worship cows and false gods?
Yeah.
But who are you, Moses, to have that anger? That's not what God asked for you. God asked for you to do it. He didn't ask for you to be like, why are y'all not listening? That's not how God works.
I'll tell you why Moses had that anger. It's because they were doing disbelief. They were worshiping the cow.
But that's Moses' ego.
It's not. That's God's will. He's following God's will.
Then let God handle it, Moses.
But that's why God sent him as a prophet to lead those people from Pharaoh.
But the reason why he didn't see the promised land, because it wasn't his position to be angry at them to not believe. He was meant to bring them. He can't make them drink the water. You can bring the horse to the river, but it wasn't his job to force them to drink.
No, but God just saved them from torture from Pharaoh. He split the sea open for them, let them get away from the guy who's killing them with their kids. And after seeing what God's done for them, these people are so ungrateful, they start worshiping a cow. So Moses is thinking, rah, I had to put my life on the line for all you lot people. I just put my life on the line for
see the ego. I put my life on the line.
That's my interpretation. Moses was angry because of the Creator. He's following God. Moses is only there because God sent him there.
And how dare you try to have human emotion and compare that to what God is feeling?
Because God created us. God created us with that emotion.
But God is not feeling what human beings are feeling.
No, but God created.
God is not feeling what human beings are feeling. You think God cares if anybody worships him or not? He don't care at all.
He does. That's the whole purpose of being a believer. What did Jesus say what did Jesus say when he's
Let me ask you something. Do you think God is for or against abortion?
I think that's a good question. I'm not too sure. That's a great question. I don't know. Maybe against, maybe for. I don't know. I don't know.
He's definitely against it.
Yeah.
Okay. But guess what? He lets people kill babies in the womb every day. You know why?
Why?
He doesn't care. Meaning he's not going to impose on us. The only person that imposes on us is the devil. God doesn't impose. He does not care if you worship him or not. He wants you to. He sent his son so that you can, but he doesn't care. He's
So
not bent out of shape about it.
So why did Jesus pray to God then?
Because that was his father. That was God.
So that's what I'm saying. So Jesus prayed to God. So obviously God does care if he prayed to him then. Moses prayed to him. Moses was prayed to him. My thing with religion is this, right? 'Cause everyone, I'm not here to. I'm here to hear your views, and it's good to learn because I'm learning a lot more about Jesus. Frank's conversation because I don't know much about Jesus. I'm gonna be honest to you. I'm learning from you today.
He prayed to God to let his will be done. He always wanted to do what God's will was.
My next question I'll ask you, man, is about distribution. It's probably the last question I'm gonna ask you. It's about distribution and what's your views on distribution and what's your views? Let me get a biscuit, man. I need some cookies right now. What's your views on distribution? And what's your views on streaming, man, and you know, just putting out, you know, streaming services, record stores, distribution. What's your views on that? Like, what's your views on that?
Yeah, I mean, we was talking offline, and I think you have a lot of good ideas and a lot of innovative ideas, and I appreciate that. And I'm sort of on the same wavelength, so I agree. And I think it's got to be a happy medium. I think you gotta, kind of like you said, you gotta still have stuff in the stores that people are walking in, like Spotify and Apple Music. You just have to. That's just where most of the people are at. But you got to also try to aggregate those people back to your website or to your source and try to sell merch. Like right now, if you buy the shirt, you get sent a rough version of the album. It's like 7 or 8 songs, and they might change, but as is, you get to hear them. And if people really rock with me, then they get to hear the album kind of early version of it. So yeah, you got to think of different ways like that to where people can support through buying merch. I think obviously concerts and live events. So there's definitely ways to where you can funnel people back to kind of your independent hustle. But I don't think that means 100% to not put any music out on the other platforms. I think you should try to be everywhere, but also make ways to where you can have exclusive content to where people could buy it. So you might have a couple of songs that are on YouTube, a couple of songs on Spotify and Apple Music, but maybe you have like a movie that's only available on your website and people got to spend $20 to be able to watch the movie, that you have or whatever it is that you're doing. But I don't think you should alienate anything. You should try to, as much as you can, aggregate all areas, and then try to funnel that all back to your one place where you make the most profit off of. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think if he said that was great, I think you should definitely be on streaming services, record stores, anywhere the consumer's going to be. I think you have to be there, So I think, but at the same time, I like that you spoke about, your own having an alternative, like another option. But I think most time artists, we don't give our fans other options to consume our art. We just give them go here. Like back in the day, they'd be like album out in stores. What store? I don't know where to go. Well, now they say album out on all services. Okay, what service? Or, you know what I mean? But now with you
Yeah.
having your own kind of thing, you give your fan another option. Album out in stores, album out on services, and album also on Hassan.com. So now we know there's 3 places. Now the consumer knows there's 3 places where you can get it from. So I think as artists, it's great that you said that. I just think as distribution is so important because distribution is where the economics actually happen in music. That's the place where that's the place where the revenue is made. And so yeah, I think that's very good. I think that's good input you gave to artists out there. They can probably learn from that. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
uh-huh.
I think that I think there should be definitely a focus on creating your own world as much as you can, though. So yeah, you're right. Like definitely creating as much of an ecosystem to where you can bring people back to, and like you said, options. You'd be surprised how many people want to support by buying a shirt just because they like your music. They might not even wear the shirt. They're just buying the shirt because they're trying to support, and because they listen to the music or they like you as a caricature or whatever. So it's like, yeah, you got to provide the option because you might be losing money that because you're not even providing the option.
And that's the thing. And most artists, they don't provide the option. Now you got to think about, like, I always had a question. Like, I always look at Dame Dash, for example, right? He has Rockefeller Records, but why didn't he open the Rockefeller store? Why didn't he? Because he owned the music. They own the music and they own the clothes. So I'm thinking, why didn't he have his own retail store? Then he can sell the albums directly in his own retail store, keep full margin, you know what I mean? And now he can keep the money. Meaning the label ain't getting the money, he's got the money first. Because in the economics of the business, of music business, the economics is the distributor gets the money, he touches the money first. So before the label gets it, before we get it, the person who publishes it and distributes it gets the money first. But obviously, it costs a lot of money to build stores. You got to get the government to give you a permit, whatever. But now with the internet, you just make a website. Do you know what I'm saying? The problem is, though, is your website good enough? That's what I'm learning for myself. That's what I see a lot of artists like we.
But I think, honestly, artists should, and all people should really make the most minimal website possible.
Okay.
I think people make websites too complicated, and that's what makes them bad. I think you should almost have like a splash page. You don't even need to have like a full website. You really should have a splash page. I mean, you do have to have a full website in order to, I think, take orders and stuff, but you should make it as simple as possible. I think, I mean, I hate to keep using Kanye as an example, but he's the best person at all of this stuff. So
STEM
if
player.
you go to his page, is so simple.
Yeah, and Kanye is a great example. Kanye West showed everybody about direct to consumer. He did the STEM player. Like apparently he made millions of dollars putting his album on a new way on some STEM player. But what Kanye did great was he created a good experience because the STEM player is actually a really good consumer experience. At the same time, now Kanye is controlling the economics because he knows every single person who bought that STEM player. He knows how much they want to spend. He knows that he has an email address. He can remarket to them. He knows when they bought the STEM player. He knows what countries they live in. So when he wants to go on tour, he can communicate them himself. No label, no manager, Kanye. And I think that's how it should be. It should be artist and fan. Everyone else in between trying to take money from us and they start bullying us. But really, it should be artist and fan. That's how I think it should be. Like I should make a painting, or you should make a painting, and then and then 1,000 fans want it. I should be able to give it to 1,000 fans. I should have to go through X, Y, and Z just to meet my fans. But with the internet and social media, it's helping us be able to actually do that. So Kanye West was a good example of distribution and Jay-Z as well. One thing I've got to give Jay-Z props though is Jay-Z's very good at he's very good at economics. He knows how to do business very well. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate all the time you gave me a lot of time today. I know you're very busy and I appreciate that.
Thank you for the opportunity, the platform, and just the conversation, man. And thank you for supporting and appreciating me over the time that we've been rocking, but also thank you for supporting and documenting the story of Dame Dash and championing that, man, because yeah, I'm grateful and appreciative for that as well.
Oh man, that means a lot, because that means a lot coming from what you said there as well. Everything you said that means a lot, but that means a lot, man, because I know that's your mandem. We say mandem over here. I mean, that's your homie. You know what I mean? That's your team. So it means a lot for you to say that, man.
And that's because like there is a lot of people that do give him his flowers, and there is a lot of people that show him love. But as we know, there's a lot of people who hate on him or just choose not to really give him his flowers. But God forbid, you know, that day that, you know, he ever expires, man, everybody's gonna be posting about him and appreciating him and saying everything he did for the culture. And I just think that anyone who's doing that right now while he's walking this earth, you know, should always get the credit, because every person knows that they're gonna do that when that time comes. And I just don't respect it. I respect the people that are doing it currently while he's walking this earth and while he's fighting the fights that he continues to fight for himself and for others. So, yeah, I think that, you know, the people that are brave and bold to, you know, champion him as he deserves to be, you know, I just always I rock with those people because I know that they're brave individuals. You know what I mean? They're truthful.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Dame's a unique guy, man. At the end of the day, I posted videos of Dame because I think Dame Dash is a very clever man. That's how I see him. He's a very clever man. Like, I know he talks all that street stuff and all that. That's his environment. But when it comes to him as an individual, he's very clever. He's very intelligent. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people don't see that. So on my page, I try and show that side of Dame, because he's the only guy in hip hop that really understands business and economics. Most of them don't really understand it. Dame's the only one who really grasps it. He understands it from young. He did it when he was young, but he's the only guy right now with a streaming network independently, because he understands the economics. No one else is doing it. Like, no one else is even thinking like that. But in another 10 years' time, everyone might start thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? But Dame's doing it now. Dame had a network years ago. You know what I'm saying? But Dame's always been there. He had a clothing line. Like, he inspires me. That's why I rate Dame Dash. I was 13 years old, bro. You know what I'm saying? Living in London. I saw this guy on the TV and he inspired me to do that. I want to have my own company at 13. Because I saw Dame. You know what I'm saying? That's the truth. So that's why I see Dame. I don't really see Dame Dash how everyone sees Dame Dash. You know him personally. I don't know him personally, but I just see him as a very intelligent man that grew up in a certain environment. But he's way more intelligent than people give him credit for. For me, he's probably the best entrepreneur in hip hop. Him, Nipsey Hussle are probably the best. Because the reason why I say Dame's the best, because Dame don't need a corporation.
Yeah.
Most of the other guys, they need a corporate company to keep them relevant. Dame don't need no corporate. Dame came back in 2015 with that Breakfast Club interview and shook up the whole world. You know what I'm saying? From an interview, because his brand, his equity is so big, he's built that equity in our minds. Most CEOs don't have what Dame has. Like, yeah, Suge's got it. Suge's got it. Birdman got it. But Dame's got a different thing. You know what I'm saying? Dame's thing, everyone knows Dame's story. Everyone knows Dame's story. Everyone knows his story. Not everyone knows Birdman's story. Not everyone knows Suge. People know a little bit about Suge's story. Yeah, he dangled Vanilla Ice out the window and all that stuff. But we don't know how Suge came up. A little bit about Harry O. But Dame, we know how he came up. He did this. Everyone knows the Dame Dash economic story. And I think a lot of people, they say he's broke and they talk this, but they just talk rubbish. How can a guy be broke? The guy can't be broke. What do you mean he's broke? Have you seen his bank account? How can Dame Dash be broke? That's just the most dumbest thing people say, because he's not corporate. Because he's not in that corporate world no more. But that's why I respect Dame Dash, because he's a real entrepreneur. A real entrepreneur starts from nothing. We don't rely on nobody. We have ideas and we do it for ideas. Because I see Dame as an artist. I don't really see Dame as a businessman. Because he says something that I see. I see businesses. I don't do business. Business to me is an art form. It's how I express myself. I don't do business to make money. I do business because I have ideas in my head. I want to make my ideas come real. You know what I mean? And through business, you can make your ideas come real. It's not about the money, the monetary vibe. It's about the economics, but not the monetary economics. It's about the other side of economics, controlling your art. You know what I'm saying? Not giving it away to somebody else. And Dame understands that. You know what I mean? You know more than me. I don't know him. You know him. But as an outsider, When I watch the interviews, I'm like, this guy gets economics, he gets business, but no one else in rap's thinking like this. He's the only guy with a streaming service right now, doing the ads, getting the data. Even Dame understands data. Most artists don't know about how Netflix make their money, about CPM and shit like that. Dame's talking about it in interviews. So that's why I cut it up and I put it out there to help other artists because they're not gonna listen to me. When Dame Dash says it, it holds weight because of what he's built in the past. You know him personally, I don't know him personally. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Damon, he's inspired me to be 100 million. I'm not gonna lie, I was 13 years old. He's the first guy I saw. I said, raw. He owns a record label. I'm like 13 in London. I'm like, guy owns a record label. He's got Victoria Beckham. He's got SAS from London in the back on Cribs. I'm thinking, who's this bruh? You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, but to me, he was rich. I've never seen a rich black guy. He doesn't rap. He owns a company. I said, I want to do that. Not because of the money, because it's just how he was. This is what he was doing. I was only 13, man. You know what I'm saying? So years later, I'm speaking to someone that's with me. That's crazy, man. You know,
Yeah, there is.
you know what I mean. But look, he chose you because he knows Dame knows talent. Dame's no one, from what I know, no one wants to sign Kanye West, but Dame put him on. Cameron, you, Jay-Z, you're in that conversation, bro. So that shows you how good you are. Dame Dash is a very clever man. He knows, he sees it. He's people don't rate. Do you not see Dame Dash is one of the best? Dame Dash is probably one of the best A&R in the world. This guy, Kanye West, Jay-Z, Cameron, and you. Okay? You're in that conversation, bro.
Which means I can't afford to put out any more killer cams.
Now listen. You can, but my thing is to you is what I learned about you today. I learned a lot about you is you're an artist. You're a proper artist, man. That's why you compared you to Kanye West. I'm starting to see it. Like you're a proper artist. The way you think it is so like proper artist. You know what I'm saying? You're doing it as long as you like it, as long as you're having fun and you care about it. Who cares what we think? And I respect that. I do respect that a lot. I feel like you've got so much talent, man.
Nah, and I do care, and I do take it in consideration. I understand. I wanna win, and I know you want me to win, and I know like it's all out of like a positive place, and like so I'm taking notes. You know, I'm gonna adjust, and you know.
Appreciate that, brother. Because I'm a fan of you. I'm a fan.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I do take it in consideration. You know, it's like we gonna bring some stuff that you like.
And your real fans will, one thing I say to you, your real fans will always tell you the truth. Your real fans. Your fake fans will just like, yeah, or your delusional fans, yeah, it's all right. But your real fans, they will tell you the truth. That's what I want to learn about fans. The real ones that buy your merch, the ones that go to your concert, the ones that travel to see you, the ones that take their paycheck to come to buy your album, they will tell you the truth because they care about you, care about what you do. It means so much to them. So that's why you tell about what I was saying to you. I'm your fan because I've seen. It's rare that I see a new artist that I like. I don't really like a lot of new artists. Like just because you're with Dame Dash doesn't mean I'm gonna like you. You know what I'm saying? Dame has a lot of art. Like, I don't like a lot of stuff Dame Dash does. Like a lot of the music he's put out, I don't even like it. You know what I mean? I just like Dame. I like him, his brand, him as a person. You know what I mean? But you, I like. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just different. It related to me. And when you speak, one thing I noticed about you in interviews, you shine. You're very good at interviews because you got the whole package. It's rare you have the whole package. That's what Dame's probably suits you up because you got the whole. Kanye's got the whole package. You got the look. You got the personality. You can speak very well. Got an amazing story. You make the art. You can make the beats, and you can make the rhymes, and you can perform the rhymes. That's very hard to find that, bro. You can do 10 things, bro, at a high level. Are you mad? It's hard to find people like that. That's why you get signed quick. That's why they snatch you quick, man. Because he sees the talent. He knows this guy's something else. It's just the truth, bro.
Man, I appreciate that, brother.
Bro, you write the rhymes. You can write the rhymes. Then you can go and perform it. Then you can go and make the beat. Then you probably mix and master it probably after that. Then you go and edit the video. Bro, you're an artist of today's world. And it's very few people who have that level of artistic talent. So don't get it twisted. Just because you're not getting 1 million views and whatever, or you're not where you want to be, Dame Dash, the fact that Dame Dash, the guy who put on Jay-Z, Kanye West, Cameron, that's just name a few. And now that shows you that he sees it. Because you're in good company, bro.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Hassan, I'm gonna shoot off now because it's like in London right now. It's really late over here. It's like 3 a.m. in the
Yeah.
morning over here. But it's been worth every moment, man. And hopefully we can do this again one day. I look forward to seeing what you do in the future, man. But just know I'll be watching in the UK. We watching you too, brother, man. And I appreciate you, bro. That's all I can say. I appreciate you, man. It's been a pleasure,
Nah,
bro.
thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the time, the platform, and yeah, continued success with all of this.